Hey, what's up guys, I'm Matt. Today I'm going to be showing you how to clean your designer sneakers. Let's get into the video. Now the first thing I wanted to mention before anything else is that I'm not sponsored by Shoe whatsoever. There's no promo codes, there's no anything from me. This is my honest opinions, this is what I honestly use to clean the stuff. And if I'm being honest, I do use Jason Mark as well. I don't use any Crep Protect because I've had bad experiences with it in the past. But any of this right here is honestly what I use on a regular basis, including the Jason Mark stuff. I use everything. I don't have any brand preferences. It's pretty much whichever one's cheaper is the one I'm gonna use. The first thing I think everybody should know before they even start cleaning them is just recognizing what material their shoes are made of. So if we're looking at this Saint Laurent SL2, you'll be able to see that this is a suede upper with some leather hits and then just a normal rubberized sole. You can see that on the bottom of these, it's like kind of dirty for both, and the back of these are actually pretty dirty as well. So that's just something I want to know beforehand, is that you really need to know the materials and even the shoe. Like if we're gonna look at this Golden Goose sneaker that I have, it's purposely meant to look destroyed, it's purposely meant to look dirty, and if you clean this, you're gonna get rid of a lot of the look that you want, and that's up to you if you want it like that. For me personally, I like the sneakers to look exactly how I bought them for these, so I leave these alone. And another one that is pretty similar is this Represent Racer sneaker. It has distressing all throughout, and honestly I love the way it looks. It has like this almost like I think pencil-ish lead type distressing all on it to make it really look dirty. Whereas if we look at both of these, this is without distress, this is with the distressing, and this is after I cleaned it. So you can see that it almost just gives it a completely different look than before. So that's just something to keep in mind, is just know right off the hand, if they're meant to be dirty, I would not clean them. I would not clean the midsoles, at least on these. No matter how dirty it gets, I think it just adds to the wear for these personally, versus something like the Saint Laurent's where they're meant to look clean. So now that we have that out of the way, how do you clean suede? How do I clean suede personally? Well, you can do it two different ways. I know a lot of people recommend not to use water. I have water right here. I usually recommend not to use it. So what I'll start doing is I'll just take these IKEA shoe trees, which are like $1 or $2. You can buy them in kid sizes, I believe, and adult sizes. Since I have size 13 feet, it pretty much just goes in flat. It's more meant so that when you're pressing up against a toe box that you have a little bit of pressure on the other side. I don't use these to really keep shape unless I really just want it to look a certain way while I'm storing them. I mainly just use them to clean, or if I'm throwing stuff in the washing machine, which I don't do with any of these. So I just start by putting these in the shoes. So then now you can kind of see that they have a little bit more form to them than before. I can push down a little bit on this and there's a little bit of pushback. So the main way I would clean these suede sneakers, since they're not that dirty, is I would just take a suede eraser and kind of go to town on the top a little bit. So I'll do that right now. And then I also like to use a suede brush to kind of like lift dirt that could be stuck in your suede shoes. Kind of just lifting dirt if you can, and then pulling it out with like a suede eraser. You can definitely see I've used this one a lot. This one's like crepe. This one's more, it feels like a eraser, like an actual eraser. This one is a crepe eraser. I think I prefer this one, although I haven't begun using this one all that much. I think I've only tried it like twice. This one is tried and true though. Then what you can do as well is like with these brushes, like when you're on the side, you can just kind of like brush it a certain way, because you know like suede can look differently in different ways. I like to make sure that all mine are brushed the same way when I leave the house. So this is another thing you can do. Like it won't make it necessarily look cleaner, but it will give it all the same color and shape to them. I think what I really like about the crepe eraser is that it's able to draw dirt out a little bit easier, since dirt kind of like attracts them. If you guys have any Chelsea boots, you'll know that the moment you bring them outside and you walk outside, doesn't matter if you've worn for 1 day, 2 days, the sole on the bottom is already like pitch black. So mainly what I'm doing right now is just kind of cleaning up the upper a little bit. These weren't really that dirty up top. It's mainly the back of the sneakers I wanted to kind of hit a little bit. So the uppers on both are pretty clean already. There didn't really have that much dirt to begin with, so there wasn't too much I could show there. But what I really wanted to show was like the back, how I handle it. Because it is a suede upper, I don't really like to get a lot of water on it. I don't want to get water on it if I don't need to. And that's where you can just use like a water protectant. Like I have some like soft sole ones that cost me like a few bucks at Nordstrom Rack, and it's actually cheaper there than elsewhere from what I found. And you can pretty much just spray it on after. I don't like putting it on leather personally. I don't feel like leather really needs water repellent on it usually. But for these, I definitely like to put water repellent on them. So what I'll do now is I will take a thing of warm water. I feel like it works a little bit better. And then I will put in a few squirts of the Rejuvenator. Depending on how many shoes you clean at a time too, you can really change up how much you want. You don't really need as much as they put in the videos if you're doing just one shoe. Usually if I'm doing a few shoes, I'll put the same amount as they put in the videos. So for this one, I'll put in probably 2 squirts. And I think I put in way too much. Alright, so now what we're going to do is I'm going to take my towel that I have down here. And if you guys want to know where I get these are from Costco. They're like super cheap. There's like mechanic towels, just microfiber cloths. It's usually what I use. And what I like to do is always have like a surface where you can clean them on, whether it be a carpet. I usually just like putting a towel down, which I have here. And then I personally love the 3-brush system. This one's on deck because they had a sale on like 8/8, where this was like 14 bucks. I picked this one up because I just like having more brushes on deck, and it's cheaper than buying like individual brushes. I personally like the Rejuvenator system mainly because it is 3 different brushes that have 3 different uses. Like this soft one works super well on prime knit. The medium brush works well on like a lot of uppers like leather, the midsole, pretty much like your all-purpose brush. And then your hard is really good for outsoles and kind of getting rid of those tough spots that aren't really coming out with other brushes. I really like this a lot better than the Jason Mark, than the Crep Protect. I think that having 3 brushes is definitely beneficial. And honestly, I don't think that any of these are anything special personally, but I do think that the brushes are something special and definitely worth spending money on. Buy the 3-brush system, see how it works for you. For me, it works really well. This isn't sponsored, so I don't make anything by saying this at all. This is just my personal opinion, what I've liked from using a bunch of different stuff. So let's get into this. So now I'm going to clean the back of these. So I like having the towel kind of blocking the suede, just in case the water kind of comes down. I have a barrier that can kind of like, I can quickly wipe it off so I don't get wet. It's usually just something that I like to do personally. I don't really see anybody else doing it, but for me it just allows it to where it doesn't seep into the suede. So I'm going to dip it in the water. I like to brush it off a little bit because I don't want to get too much water on the upper, and then I'll go to town. Kind of just want to let the brush do most of the work. You don't really want to put too much pressure on it. Let the brush do its job and what you want it to do. And then what I like to do after is actually, while it's still wet, while it's still a little bit soapy, I like to take this brush, dip it a little bit in water, and then with the soap that's already on there, kind of go to town a little bit more. It's mainly this back part that I wanted to nail down. Oh, this is already turning out really well. So as you can kind of see, like this is the part that I cleaned like right up until here, and then you can see like right along this part right here, I haven't even cleaned any of that yet. Even though it's bubbles, I haven't cleaned that area at all. It's this area all right here that I have cleaned, and look at the difference already. I haven't cleaned this side yet. This side is clean. That's with literal like 20 seconds of brushing, so I'm gonna brush the rest of this off right now. And just like that, we have a clean midsole from back to front. If this is a clean shoe, this is as clean as I can possibly get it pretty much without damaging it. I actually dropped a little bit of water on it while I was cleaning them, and that was a little careless. So these are pretty much clean. If your laces are dirty, I would just take them out and dump them in the solution, kind of wash them by hand and then let them kind of dry. I don't personally clean the bottom of the shoe because it's just gonna get dirty again. Unless there's like gum or something I really want to get off. I usually just kind of clean around like this area right here and that's usually what I'll do. So even looking at the back of these, this is the one I cleaned. I haven't cleaned this one yet, and you can already see the differences with both. That's suede. I want to show you guys leather now, because leather is a little bit different. So with leather, you can have a little bit more leeway with what you're doing. For me personally, I don't like to let too much water seep into the upper, just because I don't want it to get too damaged or anything like that. It's just something that I personally don't like, but you can go a little bit crazier with it. Just be careful with what materials you're using. Be careful about your stitching. If anything is coming up, you don't really want to go too aggressive in that area. And honestly, I don't think that leather sneakers really need water repellent personally. I feel like they're naturally repelling water. That sounded really dumb, but I just feel like leather sneakers are naturally a little bit more durable than suede. Water will hit it and kind of bounce off instead of kind of seeping in a little bit more. It doesn't mean that you should be careless with it, but it does mean you should be a little bit careful. This part I want to show the Represent Alpha Mids. These ones are pretty clean on the upper already. Like, I don't need to do too much to that. So for the midsole on these, I would definitely just go to town with the medium brush and the hard brush. You don't need to use a soft brush for any of this. And just for demonstration purposes, I'll show you kind of what it will look like now. With these ones, I know personally that they do take a little bit more work to get it out. So then within 2-3 minutes, now your shoe will be looking pretty clean. I know these ones will have a little bit more stains on the midsole than other shoes, but it's just something to note. Again, you can see that these are the ones I cleaned. These are the ones I did not clean yet. And you can see definitely around like this area right here, dirt kind of gets trapped. So that just allows you to go in there and clean it. There are still some marks on the clean pair, but I know with this rubber, it definitely attracts more dirt in it and it's just really difficult to get out. But you even kind of see here that this is the clean pair, this isn't the clean pair, and it's almost like a different shade. And this is why I think it's really important to clean shoes. Do not put leather sneakers in a washing machine. I would highly advise against that. I would never put your Jordan in there. I would never put any of your leather sneakers in there. The only things I would ever put in the washing machine would be something without leather in it, really, which is difficult with a lot of the designer sneakers because there's leather accents on a lot of them. I would personally avoid it if I were you. But yeah, this has been this video. It's been extremely long that you've just been watching me clean 2 different shoes, but I just want to show you 2 different styles of a leather one and a suede one. If it's a canvas one or a mesh one, mesh ones you can literally just wash them like you would a Yeezy, and you would just take your soft brush, brush up the top, then take your medium one and brush the midsole with it, and then take your hard one and then brush the midsole with it again if you need a little bit deeper of a clean. And if you have the Balenciaga Speed Trainers, I'd be careful if you're cleaning the upper with the logo right there. I have definitely seen the logo come off, so like my Represent ones, I am very careful on where I clean it because I don't want to rip off the logo. So just something to keep in mind with that is to just avoid it. Even with the soft brush, I want you to be careful with that because I don't want you ripping off any logo. Because be real, that's kind of what you pay for, is a logo. And with suede, you really don't want to use any of that. You just want to use an eraser. And I have the brass bristle brush, but I haven't really realized how to use it yet. So I'm trying to avoid it right now, but that's another option for you. And don't be a brand whore and just pick whichever brand's cheaper and fits your needs the best. There's a ton of different options now. You got Jason Mark, you've got Rejuvenator, you've got Crep Protect. You take your pick of the litter, and I'll let you have fun with that. But yeah, this has been how to clean designer sneakers. But with all that being said, thank you for stopping by this video. If you want to know any particular shoe to clean that I have in my collection over here, or you've seen the video, please let me know and I'll show you how to clean it. And again, this isn't sponsored by anybody. This isn't sponsored by Rejuvenator. This isn't sponsored by Costco or Jason Mark. This is just myself, what I've purchased with my own money. But thanks for stopping by the video, and like always, please like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.